Hello, everybody, and welcome to another From the Fog interview. Before we get started, I wanted to quick thanks to a few people that helped me out, like Comical Bonzo for making the intro for the series, and Bret helping me rebrand my channel, and to Safix for making me go through with this particular video because we have a very special guest, the God King of Maths books, the librarian himself.
Hello.
So yeah, and big thanks to you also for helping me with the border issue on my last video.
Yeah, no problem.
So, first question, like always, what made you start with YouTube? Like your first ever?
Years and years ago, I actually had a gaming channel that I monetized, but it never really went anywhere. The Librarian channel actually predates that one, but that was actually like the side channel. I so rarely posted to it. But for a long time, I've wanted to do like creepy related content. It was only in about like 2020 or so that I got lucky and an old video that I had made like a year prior took off, and I've just kind of been riding that wave ever since.
Well, that sounds really interesting.
All right, so let's start exploring this map. I had originally wanted to do this in From the Fog, seeing as you are the German translator for From the Fog, right?
Yeah, I am.
And it's been really cool to see how that mod has grown, how the team has expanded, and it's done so much for me as well. It's been very mutually beneficial. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to host a server on that world. I mean, we were trying it earlier, and every time it would not only disconnect from the server, it would actually kill my entire internet for the computer, requiring a hard reset. So unfortunately, that didn't come to be, but here we are now in Gary's mod. And what's the name of this map again?
GM_Laughtown.
Right, Laughtown. And I had actually never heard of this map before, but it's pretty interesting because it's sort of bare, but it's very wide streets, very large buildings.
Well, from the cars that are somewhat sparse around here, like wrecked cars, I would think it's from old Soviet Union, so...
Actually, wait, what is that flag back there? There's a flag on a pole. Looks like... I feel so dumb I couldn't identify it right now, but it looks like it's one of the Baltic states.
Well, maybe I can... Well, kinda looks like Austria.
Oh, maybe Austria, but that's not Eastern Europe.
Well, no. Well, depends how you think of it. I mean, the part of Germany where I live once was Eastern as well. After the Second World War, so...
So do you see architecture that looks like post-Soviet in former East Germany?
No, mostly I don't. We have some buildings that resemble Soviet architecture called Plattenbauten. So basically they're just bare skeletons of living flats with just plates on it, and that's the structure of the building. And that came from Soviet, so...
Well, I'm actually looking around seeing a lot of different types of architecture. Like, yeah we have those Half-Life 2 post-Soviet buildings in the background, and then there's those apartments over there, but some of these other things almost look like something you'd find in, like, America or Europe, like, during the 70s. Like that sort of bare concrete style with just a little bit of flair to it.
Well, I guess Soviet Union was widespread from time-wise, so...
Well, looking around, of course I always look for the creepy things in a map, and I'm wondering if there's not maybe a way we can access that tunnel over there.
Well, we can...
Do you want to try no-clipping or run over there?
Well, we could always no-clip. I mean, it's Gary's mod for a reason, so...
Yeah.
I actually never explored this tunnel in particular, so...
Yeah, I've never been on this map at all. This is my first time seeing it.
Well,
Oh wait,
That
whoa,
was
listen.
romantic.
You hear that? It actually sounds like there's like that whimpering noise that I'm so accustomed to. It's part of Half-Life 2.
Let me just get my audio up.
Yeah, it's especially loud back here. Huh, that's so interesting. They actually, I love it when map creators do this, when they leave like Easter eggs like this for the people who get curious.
Well, my end doesn't get to hear it, so...
Oh, you really can't hear it?
No, I just... No, nothing from me, sadly, so...
Alright, well, that was that. Well, that's a big building right there.
Kinda looks like a factory.
Yeah. Can we go inside? No, there's no interior. However, I think before you joined, I might have seen something this big that did have an interior. Maybe we can look for that. In the meantime, any other questions? Maybe anything relating to From the Fog itself?
Well, not really from the fog, but to generate it again. How did the name TheLibrarian come to be?
Oh, that's like ancient history. So I actually came from, and this is like almost embarrassing to admit, but I actually originally started on 4chan's X board. It was the paranormal board. It's kind of where I got into like all those creepypastas in like 2009, 2010. And sort of reinvigorated my new interest in like internet horror. And of course, at the time, it was all like the lost episode pastas, like Suicide Mouse and Dead Bart. And what I would do is I just started a folder, and I've always been kind of a data hoarder. And I just grabbed all kinds of images and stories that people would post, and I compiled them all together, put them in an easily readable format. And every year on Halloween, I would put it all up for download as one thing. And so it was kind of like a curated archive of that board. And it just felt really cool to do, really cool to be able to give that like huge content dump. And that's where I got the name TheLibrarian, was because I was sort of cataloging all these stories and such.
Well, that's an interesting story. And, well, I gotta say, I wouldn't have thought of that, but alright.
Yeah, no one does, because I'm wholesome scary man, so it's kind of weird that I came from 4chan of all places, but
Yeah.
Whatever. Now, it seems like this place is actually all dark on the inside, so we'll need flashlights to explore. Now it's kind of like urban exploration.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a mural on the wall there. Now that definitely looks like Soviet art style.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for all the videos. It's kind of laggy because of the flashlights, but
I'll turn
really
mine off.
anything
Does
about
that make it any better for you?
No, not really.
Try turning yours off. Does that fix it?
Well, that's better, but then you can't see anything, so...
Okay, we'll just take it outside then.
No, I could go along here. It's not bad of lags. There's
Okay,
a little
now
bit.
if you turn yours off and I just use mine, how does that look? Does that still laggy?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't make a difference whose flashlight it is. It might as well be yours since you're recording.
Yeah.
That's actually really creepy from my end because I can see like all the shadows that it's casting from the concrete beams.
So, actually one question that I don't really know if it's answered already. How did it come to be From the Fog video? Well, how did you come to make From the Fog video in the first place?
I don't know if it was Bret or not, but somebody was begging me for like weeks and weeks in the Discord's suggestions channel. And I thought from the beginning it looked very interesting, but I just had other stuff going on at the time. But eventually I figured I would, try it. I put it off because I hadn't done anything Minecraft related for a while. But eventually I tried it, and I just enjoyed it so much because it was almost like, there's so many crazy things people are doing with Minecraft these days. But this was almost like a Vanilla Plus experience. Not only Vanilla Plus, but it sort of worked in a way that was similar to what the game always felt like. I mean, that was something that I talked about a lot in the early days of the series was, Herobrine is an old legend in Minecraft. It's something that's been talked about for like 13 years now. And so to actually integrate it in a way that feels true to those original stories, it almost doesn't feel like the game has changed at all, which was really interesting, and I'm really happy that the mod was able to have that subtlety to it. And, well, the series ended up taking off in a massive way. Like, that first episode is one of the most viewed videos on this channel, which I really did not expect, so I would have been crazy to not give it more attention. And oddly enough, the more attention it got, the mod also gained more attention because of that series, and then other people played it and took it way beyond where I could have carried it. Bret is like a really talented developer and put together an even more talented team, and it's just become this thing that's like so much bigger than the attention that it was originally given.
Well, and one interesting thing also is, I already said that in the Bonzo video, Bret is not even 18, he's 16 like me, so...
Really? I had heard... Wait, you're 16?
Yeah, I am.
Huh. I honestly never would have guessed. So he has this whole children's crusade going on and doing amazing things. I honestly do think, and, it's so cool that you're a part of this. I haven't actually spoken to Bret directly yet. This is the first time I've spoken to a member of the team in voice chat. But I just think it's so cool that... how do I put this? I really think that From the Fog is going to be one of those, defining things for Minecraft. I really do think it's so seamless with the base game and such a big part of the pre-established sort of culture around Minecraft that it's going to be one of those things that people still talk about alongside Minecraft years from now.
Yeah. And I think one big factor also is now that Mojang is owned by Microsoft, and Minecraft is going a whole different route than it was 4 years prior. People are gonna remember this as somewhat vanilla and somewhat old, and it's just gonna stay in their minds.
I mean, who knows? You never know, because I was probably about your age when Minecraft came out, and which I can feel the wrinkles in my hair graying as I say that, but I never would have thought that 13 years later people would still, kids today, would still be playing Minecraft, and it's still very popular with them. So I think it's the kind of thing that has that universal appeal where its popularity may go up and down, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so even though From the Fog is a new thing, it feels like, that's a big part of it, is that it feels like it's always been there.
Well, it kinda has always been there. If you look at the changelog years prior, you can always see at the end removed Herobrine, so it's kinda been always there.
Yeah, I remember how much it freaked me out the first time they posted that. Not even because I believed in the Herobrine legend, but just because I was like, wait, did they actually respond to this and maybe put something real in the game? And it did exactly what they wanted. It fueled a lot of speculation whether they had heard the stories and actually put something like that in.
But this is creepy now. Just
Yeah, this
all dark.
whole dark hangar.
Yeah. Just imagine in the next one is a monster.
Yeah. Oh, I have encountered that so many times before, running into something scary after thinking that a map had nothing like that on it.
Well, I told you this map is special.
Yeah.
Let's just take a look in here. Well, no monster as far as I can tell, but...
Yep, and that's all we need to do. I mean, if you're a security guard making your rounds at night, all you have to do is poke your head in the room. You don't have to do a detailed search, and why scare yourself if you don't have to?
Yeah. So, one question that's actually from me, are there any games you haven't yet played that you want to play?
So many. So many. See, the thing is, it's really hard for me to do games that can't be completed in one sitting, because algorithmically, YouTube just doesn't care about the series as much. But there are so many that I would like to do, because people think I don't read the suggestions. I really do. I read them all the time. It's just that I have to prioritize, but some that I would like to do are like Faith, Blair Witch, some PS2 games like The Haunted Mansion. The list goes on and on. I mean, if you look at the suggestions in my Discord, it's basically just a list of the games I would like to do, because this community has so many great suggestions. I wonder if this lambda means anything.
Well, could be. I've played on this map like 20-30 times before testing mods, and I've been all around, but I still get to see new stuff now. Because I just don't have to wait to look at stuff like you do.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I actually often feel like that in, I mean, those of you who watch my channel know that I also do, like, real life, like, urban exploration of, like, abandoned buildings and such. I would actually love to do, you know, Germany and Europe, because there's a lot of old, like, you know, bunkers and factories and such. But I always get a similar sentiment when I explore with other people, what you just said, which is, I feel like in real life, I don't actually have the eye for exploration, and when I do it with new people, a lot of the time they notice things that I never would have. So I wonder if people watching, like, the Gary's Mod videos feel the same way.
Well, there are people that, from the vlog videos, I looked at the comments, pointed out some viewpoints that you didn't see on every video, so...
Yeah, that's true. The audience is... Honestly, From the Fog doesn't work as well as it does without the audience, because I think it actually makes some of the scares scarier that I don't notice them, and it gives the audience something fun to do looking in the background for things I didn't notice. And it's one of those ways where From the Fog is really a multi-layered thing, because it's such a different experience to play it, to watch someone play it, but all of it works in its own ways. So I feel like in keeping it in having it work the way it does, Bret and the team have really struck gold.
Yeah, they have. But do you know what I find interesting? This whole town is abandoned, but yet look at the shop front right here. It's still lit up, still parts in there.
Yeah, that's weird.
And look at the bus stops. The ads still go up and down.
The ads are going up and down, but it's not backlit. Oh, hi, Harold. And yeah, it's so weird that, like, the lights are just on in this one shop in the entire city.
Well, in Hasburger the lights are also on, like, some places were just abandoned a few minutes before we came here, so... But still everything is empty, so it has to have been abandoned for at least 2 years now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no... It's so weird, because there's also, like, besides being, like, a fairly large map in terms of, like, the streets and sidewalks being so much wider than usual, it's not really dressed with a lot of props, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
That's always a weird thing with these RP maps is that, you know, they're usually very deliberately empty so that, like, players can do whatever they want with spaces, but it almost seems like it wants the player to light these spaces as well, which is pretty rare because that can be pretty taxing on the system. It seems like this is very much a map meant for like, driving. Like, it seems very vehicle-focused, with everything being so far apart and all these streets and parking lots.
Hello, sir. Please, thank you. What would you like to order?
Yeah, I'll have some of the uranium, which is up there for some reason.
Yeah.
And
Alright,
and a fresh juice.
Alright, let me get that. Yeah, so we're all out of stock. We have nothing.
Oh yeah, I was wondering why it looks so bare back there. Actually, I don't even see any equipment, so it's kind of amazing that the lights are on in this place.
Yeah.
Maybe in the back room? Oh, it's just a bathroom. So the one piece of furniture in this entire place is the toilet. Minima. Oh, I guess this is supposed to be like a department store type of thing, but as usual, nothing inside.
Just empty lit rooms.
It's really weird. It almost sort of reminds me, like, because of the scale and the simplicity of it, it sort of reminds me of, like, those early 2000s, like, PS2 open world games. Like, they would have these, like, big worlds, but they would be so empty.
Well, this is a gas station, so...
A gas station with no pumps. And with absolutely beautiful pricing.
Yeah. Well, you have... Well, we don't know. Maybe it's in for a liter, maybe it's for a gallon, so... Snacks and... But the billboards are lit.
Yeah, the billboards are lit. Actually, having all this grass over here after the concrete of the rest of the place is kind of strange, isn't it? This whole thing almost feels like you're walking around on like a movie set.
Yeah. Well, this could be Eastern Germany.
Yeah, this definitely. I mean, I've seen a lot of like German movies from like the 70s and 80s, and this pretty much looks like what those look like.
Well, this is what I talked to you before, Plattenbauten. So...
When you learn a German word, you've learned a sentence.
Well, somewhat.
Now this is... I hadn't noticed this before. This is like an entire... Like, the entire thing is just totally dried. There's a ship sitting at the bottom of this bed. It's kind of a strange choice on the part of the map creator. To just have... To have all these waterways, but no water within.
Well, this once was a harbor, so...
Strange to see it completely drained. Even stranger for the creator to choose to have it this way.
Yeah. Like a fishing boat with just the rust on it. Seems kind of interesting.
Maybe we can get into this warehouse over here? I mean, the windows look 3D.
Let me check. Yeah.
Wow, this is definitely going to be a difficult map for anybody who has a fear of wide open spaces. I'm actually really glad
Yeah.
you suggested this one because it's not the kind of map I would usually explore. Because, because it's so empty, on my own, I wouldn't really have a whole lot to say about it. But it kind of...
What is it?
Ooh, look at that. It's like the shattered remnants of a cart.
Yeah.
And that's all custom, too, so it's kind of strange that that's just there on a map that's otherwise so empty.
Yeah, there's just nothing in here except that.
I mean, it's weird how there's so few props on this map, and then there's one there that's like entirely custom, or at least assembled out of custom props.
Yeah.
But to get back to what I was saying earlier, yeah, exploring this map has been a lot like what you said, where I feel like having another set of eyes makes it a very different experience, where I feel like on my own I wouldn't be able to get a whole lot out of this map. I wouldn't be able to make a video on it. Here, having you here, I feel like I'm seeing it in a different way, just because I'm forced to think in a mode where I'm not the only one here.
Yeah. So, and while we're somewhat on the topic of urban exploring, you viewers probably know you're always wearing a dipper hat in your videos, so does that have any meaning?
Yeah, so years ago, I really, really loved to associate the show Gravity Falls with the creepy and comfy feeling that this channel is really about. And so back in like 2013, 14 or whatever, I just saw it in Hot Topic. I didn't have my wallet with me, so I begged my mom to like buy it for me, and she did. And ever since, that was also the year I kind of started exploring. And so it's just kind of been a staple where I take that hat with me wherever I go. It's been everywhere I've been, and I love like photographing it like in different places, just so that it kind of has like its own like track record of like this thing. This thing sort of like connects all these different places in a way.
Well, we could look into these garages that are all still here. Maybe there's something in here.
Maybe. I'm no clipping into them though, and it looks like there is one that can be opened. This one has a lambda symbol on it. This one right here. Okay, today on Storage Wars.
An empty storage.
Huh. It's an Al Capone's vault situation. Very weird that that one in particular opens and none of the other ones do.
Maybe that symbol does mean something.
Yeah, maybe. See, that's the thing. When I don't find an Easter egg where I expect to find one, it just makes me paranoid that maybe there is something that we missed.
Yeah.
Let's try... I actually, when we were at the shopping center before, I didn't notice this tower over here. Not tower, but, like, larger part of the building. I wonder if we can't actually... Oh, no, you know what? We were in here before. We're just seeing it from a different angle now. I hadn't realized that this was the same place.
LAF factory. Bus stop.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if there's anything else really.
Well, I know there's still a police station on this map, and
Okay, let's go see that.
I'm just gonna take a look into these real quick. Sometimes this a room? No, this is just... Well, I found one thing that can be opened.
Oh, you did? Hang on, I see you. I'm coming to you. Huh.
Just...
I wonder what this would be used for.
Well...
Maybe for aircraft?
Wow. Danger, contaminated area.
The doors are locked and nothing inside.
still very interesting, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's all these things that, like, it calls attention to. So that's the thing. When the map is so bare like this, it makes you wonder, like, what is the meaning behind having a prop here? Like, there must be some reason for it, even if there probably isn't. Alright, so you said there's a police station?
Yeah, just in that direction.
Let's go. Oh, these factory buildings are, like, huge.
Yeah.
There's, like, rail lines leading up to it.
Yeah. Just very interesting. And there's some more stuff than just the police station over here.
Oh, this right here. Oh, look, it's like all glass.
Yeah. I don't know what's in there, so... But you can go into here.
I wonder if this isn't maybe supposed to be like a car dealership or something. I mean, it's got space enough for a showroom, a garage door, and all these images of cars on the wall that look like something from, like, Roblox or something. Or any of those voxel-based destruction games.
And the building behind it is the police station, Laptown Municipal Police.
Let's have a look. Okay, now this is not what any police lockup I've ever seen looks like. This looks more like a dungeon.
Yeah. Well, that's fitting.
Okay. Well, you can conclude that here, and then I'll just stay here and rot, I guess.
Well, what's it to rot?
But
I mean, you're already a skeleton, so...
True. I had forgotten about that. Yeah, we couldn't get the Alan Wake player model to work. It seems to show up as an error for a lot of people, even with the correct add-on installed, so instead I'm just cosplaying as Darwin.
That's always good.
Yeah, it looks like the rest of the building is not enterable.
Yeah, I don't know what this is about. And then there's just the park with the statue of the car. LAF 110 10-year anniversary 2012 to 2022, so...
See, this is weird because, you know, in this empty look, I feel like Gary's Mod maps have actually gotten, like, more complex and just more intricate over time. This looks like something that's older, but I don't know. Actually, let me check the workshop page real quick. It might be newer.
Well, definitely 2022. So...
Yeah, it says posted December 27th, 2022, so it's like barely 6 months old. And yet it looks so classic. I mean, I feel like that's such a big part of what appeals to people these days, even though this isn't trying to be like a scary map. It's appealing to that nostalgia. It's things that look like they're nostalgic, even though they're brand new.
And I also find it kind of interesting because everything is empty as if it was abandoned 2-3 years ago, but that statue is from last year, so...
It makes it seem like, are we perceiving this, like, from the future? Like, it's almost like this map was meant to be nostalgic to people in the future in a weird way.
Yeah.
And it's like it's taken steps to be deliberately nostalgic.
Yeah, so... Well, there's still that red brownish factory. I don't know if you have looked there yet.
Let's try it. You're talking about this one that I'm flying towards?
Yeah.
Well, there's doors, but they do not open.
Yeah, nothing you can go into. But still a number. 0804V, I think. Or W, probably.
Oh, this is a different gas station. Latvian petrol.
Now that sounds more like Eastern Europe.
I love these, like, gate things when entering a yard. I think these are more common in Europe, like a whole building with an arch as you enter, like a shipping yard.
Yeah.
Or at least if my experience with Euro Truck Simulator has anything to say about it.
For most yards, they have somewhat gates. Yes, not particularly these ones, but there are some, yes.
I wonder if we can get inside. What was that question that Jade asked in the Discord yesterday?
So, he basically asked what got you into horror.
Okay, so what got me into horror was actually that's kind of a whole thing, because believe it or not, like when I was a kid, I was a complete scaredy cat. I could not do anything like scary at all. And it wasn't until I sort of got into like late middle, early high school that I played the original Condemned Criminal Origins, basically as a means of trying to challenge myself, because I didn't like, being a scaredy cat, and I wanted to...
If you come here, quick.
What's that?
Do you recognize this man?
Actually, I do. Isn't there like a whole thing about that now?
I don't know. But I think...
I feel like there's like an ARG regarding this graffiti or something. But I've never really looked into it. Hang on, let me... Actually, Richter Overtime would probably be able to explain this if he doesn't have a video on it already. And I just kind of started, playing scary games and then watching scary movies as sort of a way to challenge myself. And now, like, even though you sometimes get, like, big reactions out of me in videos, it's not even, like, 1/1000th of how scared I used to get. I mean, I didn't used to yell out. The yelling is usually, like, because I'm already talking when something scary happens. But it would be so bad as, like, I remember, like, watching a movie like House on Haunted Hill or Dawn of the Dead, and just be, like, under the covers, like, sweating, not being able to look at the screen. And so I really feel like I've come a long way from that, and I'm better off for it, because I made a career out of it.
Yeah, well, so I'm doing more, like, eerie stuff for the people that already looked at my banner. That's, of course, more planned. And just a bit of self-promotion and suggesting if you have any eerie games you want me to play, just put them in the comments. I see what I can do. So I'm a really big scaredy cat right now, and it's kind of interesting that I find these eerie things really, interesting as well. So I'm watching a horror film at the moment. I just pause it again and again because it's getting too much. Eminence Blue, the TF2 horror film. So,
Have you watched that one?
well, I'm currently watching it step by step. It's
Okay, so it's really that scary then. I mean, I assumed you were talking about something else, because I assumed it was like almost comedic because it's TF2, but it's not?
It's not.
Oh, wow. A lot of people have been suggesting it, and I think I may have to give it a go at some point then.
Well, if you want to watch something gruesome and horrifying, you should do it.
Wow, I almost can't believe like what I'm hearing about something like that, but I guess that's sort of the freedom and like the creativity that people have access to these days, that you don't need a studio to make a game or to make a movie like that, because it is like almost 2 hours long, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's
Highly made resource filmmaker, so...
I feel like part of the reason we're seeing so many cool things in horror is because regular people have access to these tools. I mean, that's where From the Fog comes from. From the Fog would never exist as a commercial product, because you just can't have that kind of subtlety in horror unless it's a mod to an existing property. But here it is, thanks to, a creative community.
Well, there's a little gap in the wall. Maybe it leads somewhere, maybe not.
Let's check it out.
I just find these little gaps interesting. Oh!
This is the self-storage yard.
Yeah. With that one.
There's those open doors. Imagine if we hadn't been here before and just found these doors open.
So guys, that was this video. A lot shorter than the last one, because I nearly recorded for 3 hours and you don't want to know how I felt after cutting it, so yeah, a bit shorter, but like I said a bit earlier, you can always put suggestions if you want me to play something, or you want a special YouTuber from the Fork staff member on here. Always put that in the comments, leave your feedback in the comments, whatever it is. Can be good, can be bad, as long as it's reasonable. So of course, give a like, give a dislike, whatever you please. Subscribe to the channel, it's free, you don't have to pay anything, not even after 3 years of subscribing, completely free. So, and again, big thanks to the librarian for being on here for this. So yeah. And that was it, the video. Hope you have a good day. Goodbye.